Hey, it's Tabs here from Southport Area SASW Trust.
And Hetty.
It's really great to see you. No.
For you to see us.
We just wanted to put together this little video to explain a bit about what we are doing during this time. We would usually be in schools. We would usually be going around schools in Southport, exploring the big issues of life and faith with children and young people in their thousands. However, we're at home.
Now, the last thing you probably heard from us was about the Hyatt tour. Now, the Hyatt tour is something that we did in partnership with local churches and in partnership with the Assemblies Trust, who are based in Manchester. And they have mission teams that they come and bring to us so that we can interact with young people on a completely different level. It was so brilliant. They came into local high schools. They had usually 1 hour with 1 year group at a time, and they shared a message of hope. They shared a message of resilience, of identity, all things that schools want us to talk about. And it was fantastic that they were able to do it in a way that mixed in music, in a way that mixed in their stories of how they came to faith, that mixed in games and fun and inspiration, and it was so brilliant. And everybody in school that day when we were there were absolutely buzzing, they were excited, they had a fantastic time, and the young people absolutely loved it. Staff loved it, and we loved it, and they loved it, and young people were so excited that day.
And it wasn't just the students that were so into it. It was actually one of my highlights as well, was the staff. I remember a senior teacher coming to me at the end of the day and saying, I had a meeting last night with someone from another school who didn't have us in for the Hyatt tour, and I told them how much they had missed out and how they'd shot themselves in the foot. But it didn't just end there. In fact, the whole week led up to a huge event that cost us about £13,500 just for the night itself in the Southport Floral Hall. It was an amazing concert put together by the Assemblies Trust with their different bands that had been in during the week in schools, and a few others as well. And so we saw over 300 people come to this concert from the schools that we'd visited, and it was amazing seeing so many faces in there that I'd known for absolutely years, coming in and engaging with this and seeing an event that so many of them were saying they would have to travel to Manchester, Liverpool or further afield to experience something as good as what they were seeing. Many of them were saying, we didn't think it would be this good, Tabs. We didn't think, we thought you were pulling our leg. By the end of the night, the bands had been sharing about purpose and hope through their Christian faith throughout the evening with the young people who were wanting to hear more and to listen to more about what that's about. And so we had this huge team of volunteers from across all sorts of different churches, right across Southport and beyond, who were there in their yellow t-shirts saying Hyatt tour, there to talk with the young people. And there was a moment towards the end of the night where everyone's just sat on the floor in little groups talking about the Christian message and being given out Bibles and things like that for them to take away and to explore more with these volunteers from all these wonderful different churches. In fact, from counting up all those resources that we gave out, we believed that there was 183 young people who opted to take away those Bibles and things from the gig and were showing some form of response to the Christian message and taking that away with them.
And so we set up follow-up groups in the local high schools and in local youth groups in order to continue that conversation with the young people. Because the Hyatt tour wasn't just about a week, even though the week was fantastic. The most important part is what happens after that week and the way that we help those young people to continue that conversation and to consider the decision that they made and consider what they want to do about that. And so we saw a number of different groups across different schools. We had a group happen in a school that has never had that kind of thing before, which was fantastic. The most that we had was one school, there was 130 young people that were there watching the videos that we had from the Message Trust and taking part in the discussion in some form, which was absolutely fantastic that so many young people wanted to hear more about this message. We also had some youth alpha groups happening across the town to try and help young people to delve even deeper into this conversation. And we had a fantastic start to that, and we had young people wanting to take away Bibles and wanting to have a conversation about what they believed. And we had a young person who hadn't even been to the gig. A friend brought them to Youth Alpha, and they said at the end of the night, I really want to become a Christian. And that is fantastic. But now, given what's happening in the world and that we aren't in schools at the moment, that we're not in that contact with young people in the way that we were, means that we have to think even more creatively about how we share this message and how we continue this conversation.
So we've been looking for a while at research that different youth organisations have been doing nationally, and I love a bit of research, I really do. And one of those statistics that they've been looking at is what young people most like to do with their time, and what they spend their time doing most, what activities and hobbies they enjoy. And you might think some of the classic playing computer games,
watching
films, stuff like that. Well, actually 81% of young people said that their favourite hobby, their favourite activity was watching videos on YouTube. And that was the top statistic. Everything else came below that. And so we've been looking at this for a while and thinking, we really need to get on that. We really need to sort something out with that and try and feature that as part of our ongoing ministry in secondary schools, and use the videos that we create and have some crossover and really try and connect with hundreds and thousands more young people than we already do through this popular medium of YouTube and online videos through social media.
So we know that the situation in the world at the moment is not great, but that means that we need to be there even more for young people at this time, whilst they're socially isolated from their peers and the positive role models they have at school, their teachers, and their family members perhaps. What's great is that we could still be there for them, but just in a different way. Like, we can be there on those screens that they watch anyway. We could help to share this message of hope and help to be there for those young people that are struggling at this time.
Just imagine for a young person who's stuck at home at the moment, fearful, not sure what's going on in the world, not sure when they're going to get to see their friends again, perhaps all sorts of things going on at home that aren't very healthy for them. And imagine if they saw some familiar faces that had delivered good spiritual, moral, cultural content to them throughout primary school and been that familiar face for them. We saw one girl who engaged with us with our content on social media and watched our videos on YouTube, and she went through every post we'd ever created or shared on Instagram and liked them. And then at the end commented and said, I remember you from my primary school. This is so good. So helpful to see you at this time.
So we wanted to share with you some of the videos that we've been working on. We wanted you to see some of the snippets so you can get a feel for it yourself. And we've been working really hard to put these videos together, to create the content, and Tabs has learned how to do video editing very well, I might say. And so please check out these snippets of the videos, and we will also link you to the whole video. So if you want to, you can look at the 5 hours of content that we've created so far.
Our first project has been our Safe Space YouTube channel, which is intended to reach the young people that we would usually be seeing in our lunchtime safe spaces in secondary schools. We've put this together, we've had a few videos so far. Our first video was 5 top tips for getting through the lockdown in this season. Our second video was our traffic light lolly challenge, which is all about how we're feeling and our well-being and what we can do about that. And we also featured Mini Tabs, who comes on every now and again to have a little word. And just recently we did an Easter safe space session where we had a good bit of fun with egg roulette and message recapping the Hyatt and looking at how we need to be setting our minds on things above during this time, something that really comes into mind at Easter. We've also done some safe space assemblies. These are assemblies we've produced for primary schools, assemblies in video form, which are really good fun, always involving some games, a bit of a story from our Bob Hartman rhyming Bible, with lots of little clips and things in there too, a quick and engaging message and a challenge for something to do at home to put into practice what we've looked at in our assemblies, or as some schools call them, collective worship. At one school, we even put into practice some of what we'd been learning, and we made ourselves available to help with a primary head teacher going on a live stream for his family quizzes from school, which was really quite exciting and a real privilege to be able to help in that way. Lastly, there's our Connect Kids project. We just so happen to live with Emily, who's the kids and youth worker at Christchurch Southport. So we've joined forces, put our ideas together and come up with some Sunday school type sessions, kids ministry for churches to be using during this time of lockdown, that are very similar to our assemblies, so it follows on quite strategically for any children you might have going to the schools that use the assemblies. Please do circulate these as much as you can and make sure they are getting used and seen. It's there as a resource to be used should you desire.
So you can share this content with other people. Perhaps you've got friends in other churches that might be able to use it, or perhaps you have children or grandchildren or family friends and you think, actually, I'd love them to hear this message. Well, please pass these videos on. They can watch them wherever they are. You can see them wherever you are, and you can perhaps, if you're a grandparent or an auntie or uncle or whatever, you could perhaps call them up and say, what did you think about that video? And you can have a conversation about hope together.
So I really hope that this update video has been useful for those of you in particular who support us already through prayer and finance, or those of you who are thinking of maybe starting to do so. We really hope that this video has been able to show that the work we are doing is of even more value than ever before. And it's a great opportunity for us to be there, to be present for children and young people during this time. We really hope to give you a bit more of an update soon on how effective this has been. Anyone who's maybe interested in supporting us in different ways, please go to our website and have a look at how. And other than that, we just want to wish you really well and hope that you manage to stay safe and stay well. And goodbye.
Bye!